Welcome back. So, in today's video, I'm actually going to be getting a little bit personal and sharing what my husband and I learned as homeowners. So, I just have four topics that I'm going to discuss, and I hope that this helps my first time home buyers, anyone that may have recently purchased within the last year or so, to kind of help gain a little bit perspective as well as help you as you move along this journey. So the first thing that we've learned, and just a little bit of a backstory, my husband and I purchased our home in 2014. So that would have been like after the crash and all of that. But at the time that we purchased our home, it was a buyer's market, and so we were actually able to see this property twice before we purchased it. We toured it, and then we went and looked at a couple of others, and then this one was still sitting, and we went ahead and saw it again, and we're like, okay, this is the home that we want to buy. um, Fast forward to now 2021, and I tell my clients this all the time. I'm like, I had the opportunity to see the house twice before we purchased it. You probably are not going to have that opportunity. But anyway, so the first thing that we learned was the importance of maintaining a consistent savings uh, pot or account or whatever you want to refer to it as, consistently putting funds in that, because at any point in time, anything can happen in your home, and you're not renting anymore. So you cannot call the landlord and ask them to come and fix it. You are the one that has to fix that. A couple of years ago, it was the height of the summer, and I'm talking 90, high 80s, 90 degrees outside. Our air conditioner went out, and it was okay at first. We were trying to figure out what we're going to do. Okay, let's get some fans, let's look at like an in window unit, something like that, just as a temporary fix. But the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, was our youngest son. He's now 3. He broke out in hives because it was so hot. At that point, we were like, no, we cannot get by like Auntie and Grandma used to do and just put a whole bunch of fans. Like, no, it needs to be cool in here, because he's breaking out in hives because the heat is just so intense. So we ended up having to call someone to come and fix it. Luckily and thankfully, it was a very easy fix, so it wasn't super expensive, just needed like a part that needed to be changed out, and we were right back in business. The second thing that I will touch on is the importance of a home warranty, guys. Like, please, please, when you purchase your home, make sure you have a home warranty. There are some things in life that we have to have, and those are things that you have to have if you're going to be a homeowner, because you don't want to, have to pay 100% out of pocket if something breaks down, if the furnace goes out or the water tank or whatever. And, granted, there are multiple tiers and multiple different types of plans, which that's something that I do discuss with my clients when are looking into purchasing a home, is going over the different home warranties, and what works best for them. And so if you are looking to purchase and have those types of questions, make sure that you do get in contact with me or a real estate agent in your area, so that they can assist you with answering those questions and making sure you're making the best decision. The third item is do it yourself. There are some things that you do need to call in a professional for, and then there are other things that you do need to learn how to do on your own. And I am a strong advocate for YouTube University. I know that that's a phrase that like people laugh at, but no, like legit, my husband has literally worked on things on his car, done things around the house based on learning how to do it on YouTube. Because there are, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you, there are times where we just don't have the money to pay someone. We might have the money to get the part, but as far as the labor, especially if it's something that's, easy, I'm not going to pay someone. Sometimes it's not even can't, I'm not. And so, those are things where, doing your research and, knowing a friend or an uncle or, your friend from college, uncle or whoever knows how to do this, hey, call them up and ask them to come do it, if you can't possibly do it. But, honestly, there are some things that as homeowners, it would behoove you to know how to do that. And the last item that I am going to touch on is the starter home. So this is my husband and I first, this is our first home that we purchased. We previously, before we moved in here with, it was me and my husband and our oldest son, we were living in his mother's house. She was, had the mortgage on the property. We were paying her and whatever. But as far as our first home, this is our first home. This is our starter home. And so when you are moving into your starter home, some things that you want to think about, and it may not always be feasible for you to do this, but if you can, if it's within your budget, try to fast forward a couple years down the line. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have kids, are we going to have kids? Are we thinking that we might want to have children? If you have one, like us, we had one child when we moved into this property, and we have now had two other children since we've moved here. So, and then also implementing, starting different businesses and needing space to be able to work and things like that. Like, I know that when you're purchasing your first home, a lot of people, it's not necessarily their quote unquote dream home, but you want to make sure that, a little bit hypothetically, I guess is what I'm getting at. You need to think a little bit hypothetically. Maybe in 2 years we might want to have a child. Let's make sure that we possibly have at least one extra bedroom if we can afford it. I've been thinking that I may, in a year or so, may want to start my own business, or I might want to start a YouTube channel, or I might want to just have like a separate space to be able to work or whatever. I need an extra bedroom for that, and then also adding on to that would be to make sure that, if you're already in your starter home and, let's say for instance, you may have glossed over that, like us, like we had one child and then we added on two. So now, yes, we're kind of like on top of each other at this point, but we also have learned ways to implement space saving ideas, learning how to merge stuff, declutter, so we can, create more space for the home while we're in it. So those are things to think about if you weren't able, you're not at the stage where you haven't purchased the home yet, you're not shopping around for a home, like you've already moved in there and you're like a year or two in and you're like, oh crap, okay, COVID, I need to be able to work from home. Think of some different ways to manipulate the space to make it cohesive for this new change or this new normal. And also, being flexible when it comes to being a homeowner. Like I said before, you never know when things are going to happen. So you just want to kind of be prepared that things can change at any moment. You might need to work in a spot for a crib. You might need to work in a spot for a desk or anything like that. So just to recap, and I know this was kind of all over the place, but like I said, this is just personal experience, things that I've learned, things that my husband and I have learned along the way. So it wasn't necessarily supposed to be structured, just informational, and hopefully it will help you. So the first thing I mentioned was the importance of keeping an ongoing savings account or a pot for emergency maintenance or whatever. the home warranty, making sure that you as a homeowner are, or maybe you purchased a home and your home warranty lapsed and you had to make sure that you repurchased another policy. Also, DIY, learning how to do certain things around the house so that way you're not having to, in no shade to anyone that's like an independent contractor, but making sure that you don't always have to pay people for simple things that you can do yourself. All you have to do is run over to Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards, grab the materials, go home and do it. And then lastly, making sure that it's okay to have a starter home. That is a thing. But also keeping in mind that it's not necessarily ridiculous to have an extra bedroom because you never know what can happen. You might need that. You might want to do other things down the line. And so I hope that this helps someone. I hope that you got something out of it. If you need to get in contact with me, as always, my information will be below or will be in the about section if you are watching this on my Facebook business page. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.